Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is the Haves and the Have-Nots, Season 5, Episode 22, and the name of this episode is For the Team. Man, this was a rather interesting episode, and next week is going to be the season finale, and the season finale is going to be lit, so I expect big things next week, so we're definitely going to see a lot of things go down. But tonight definitely is I think it's like the precursor for the season finale. So let me get started. But before I get started, first let me give my condolences and my love to all of the victims of Hurricane Harvey. If you can lend support or relief, please do so. I just want to use this channel also as somewhat of an outreach to also let people know that we do have responsibilities out here, and if we have the means to actually help, all of those that have fallen due to Hurricane Harvey, we should definitely do so. So that's all I'm gonna say on that, and definitely there's many different avenues where you can give relief, and if you're able to give relief, please do so, because as humans we do have a responsibility towards our own. Alright, now that I've said that, let me get started with this episode. Now, the episode opens up where it left off. Jim and Catherine done had sex, and this is the moment after. He's still saying, I love you, Kate, and, Catherine is like, I'm so not here for the BS. She's like, you know what, I'm still divorcing your ass. It's too much hurt and too much heartache between us. I'm done. And he's kind of like, Jim's like, well, why would you do that? I mean, you just had sex with me, And she's like, well, hey, She's like, and then she's like, you know what? I'm just over it, Jim. Like, for years we have been going through this crap. And she's like, and then he's still saying that, I love you, I'm not going anywhere, I'm with you to the end. And she's like, you know what, I'm not here for all this shit. First of all, you never listen to me. I told you about Wyatt and I told you about Amanda, and you were wrong about both situations, and you never apologized. And he's like, yes, Amanda, I think about Amanda every single day. And then she said, and Wyatt's out here doing God knows what. But the thing is, Jim knows what's going on with Wyatt, but he's not letting Catherine know that she knows. But then she's saying that she's been waiting on Jeffrey to give her a follow-up. But then she's like, I don't even want Jeffrey to call me because I just have a feeling he's going to call me and let me know that Wyatt's dead. So I really don't want to know. But he's still adamant, I love you, Kate. And she's like, when's my birthday? He said February. She's like, no, it's June. February was Celine's. I was like, damn! I'm like, yo, you got her mixed up with number 4, the maid, Celine. Celine's been gone for a minute, but she's not forgotten because Celine was a mess. But then she says, oh, okay, so when was Wyatt's birthday? And he said April 6th. And she's like, okay, you got that right. And what about our anniversary? It took him a minute, but then he was like, June 16th. And she's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And she's like, you know what, Jim? You really made a horrible mistake because you did the same crap that you did earlier. You did the same thing 30 years ago, but back then you were sexy, you had on tight jeans, you had silky blonde hair, and you had literally thought that by walking in and having sex with me was going to change everything. He's like, no, I thought I was coming in to make love to my wife. And she's like, you know what, Jim? You know what? You're not running for governor anymore. This is not a campaign trail. You can stop the lying. Do you even know how to tell the truth? And he's like, well, right here, I'm telling you right now, I'm here, Catherine. I'm here, and I always will be here. And she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm about to leave. And when I come back, you better be gone. Because if you're still here, like I did Jennifer Salison, I will get that same gun and blow your ass away just like I just blew you. I was like, ew! Kate wasn't playing. And put on her dress and her heels and walked up out of there. I was like, she wasn't here for the BS. We next see that Erica takes David to that hideout. Remember that hideout that he was cleaning up, and he was there with Oscar? Now he's got the place renovated. The place looks nice. And it's a property that he has that Veronica doesn't know exists. So he's there with Erica, and she goes to step to use the bathroom. He gets a call from Jeffrey. Jeffrey's still at the hotel. What's the name of that hotel? The Artesian. He's at the Artesian, and he's pretty much asking his father, have you heard anything? And he's like, yeah, they found the body, and they found the bracelet and the keys. And Jeffrey admits the keys are his, but he doesn't know where the bracelet belongs to. But we know that bracelet is actually Benny's. And he told him that, you need to stay at that hotel, do not go back to your mother's house. And she says, has she been reaching out to you? He's like, yeah, she's been calling me every 5 minutes. And she's like, she's going to be pissed off. And he said, let her be pissed off. And he's like, so what you got going on, as far as what you're going to do about it? He's like, don't worry, I have it handled. And once I know something, after it's done, I'll let you know. And he's like, will she, and then Jeffrey's like, will she get hurt? He was like, I can't, he says, no, I will not do anything to hurt your mother, but I can't tell you what I'm going to do. He's like, so you are going to hurt her? He's like, no, but Jeffrey, you're going to hurt her with another fit of rage if you continue to deal with her, so stay away from her. So he agrees to do so. Because we know how Jeffrey damaged that left implant and left that knife just sitting on her chest. He wasn't playing with her that day. And then he said that, look, and then he also tells her that, Jeffrey also tells David that Veronica knows where he is. So he told him to get another room. He says, I can't. The hotel's booked. He said, well, find another hotel. He's like, okay, fine. Then he gets a call from Wyatt. Wyatt looked really good, and he's out with Anna, and him and Anna are at the park. And you can definitely tell the chemistry is going between them. But he's like, we're at the park. Why don't you come out and join us? He's like, oh no, I'm not. I got a lot to do over here. I got a lot going on. But he lets him know that, look, that cop came by my apartment the other day when I was talking to the DA. Yo, I don't know what's up with that dude, but you need to stay away from him. Something ain't right with him. And Justice's like, yeah, I know, I got you, but he's like, look, he's just weird, and I don't trust him, so you need to stay away from him, Jeffrey. Jeffrey says he does, but as soon as he gets off the phone, he ends up calling Justin and tells Justin that he wants to talk to him. So then we see Justin ends up coming by. And I'm going to get back to them. So then we see Erica and David have a moment. He tells her that it's okay, you're safe here, and she tells him thank you for saving my life. And he's asking what is his name, because remember from the last episode she says her fiance has been beating her and is after her. Well, we know it's all a damn lie, but Erica's still saying I don't want to talk about him, I don't want to bring up his name and everything. But then David lets her know that, look, I've seen this situation before. You acting like it doesn't exist never resolves it, and sometimes you need outside force to come in and intervene that will end it for good, or it could end in blood if not. And she's like, look, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, yeah, because you know damn well Candace is after that ass. Anyway, but he makes a drink. It's a place with a nice view, and and she's saying that, they pretty much pour drinks, and he's saying that this is to you, to be better and stronger, and she says yes, and this is to you becoming a free man. And then you can tell that David kind of felt some kind of way about that, but then she's like, oh, I didn't mean no harm by that. He's like, no, it's not what you said, it's the situation, because he tells her a little bit about their son Jeffrey, and that she constantly is torturing and belittling him every chance she gets, and I'm so sick of it. And she's like, okay, that's not cool. And she's like, yeah, it's because, Jeffrey is bright, but he says it's a family matter. I'm not going to talk about it. So I'm like, good, he didn't put Jeffrey out there like that. And then she comes and asks him, like, she's saying that, look, you need to talk to your son. Go talk to your son. Pretend that I'm not here. What would you do if I wasn't here? He was like, be trying to find a way to get you here. I was like, oh, David, okay. I see you, David. So then he's like, okay, she's like, how many bedrooms are in here? He says just one bedroom and a really big bed. And he's like, you know what? I want you to sleep with me every night you here. I'm like, oh, check you out, old pimp. Like, all of a sudden he's laying it on her. And she's like, well, can we just take it one night at a time? He's like, yeah, we can do that. But the first night, you sleeping in the bed. I was like, okay now. All right. So it's like David already done got he done already, is really feeling Erica. But then again, did he bring her there because he believes her, or because how David is? If something ain't right with David is not going to rest until he gets to the bottom of it. Him and Veronica have that in common. If something's off, they're going to investigate. And because she's not saying anything about this fiancé, he's going to keep digging. So the question is he all believing everything Erica's saying, or is he trying to pull her in so he can find out more? So we definitely know David has a wild card, so that may be the case there, but we will have to continue to watch to find out. So all of a sudden, he gets another call. She's like, I'm going to go look around the apartment and you can take this call. He gets a call in this gym. Jim pretty much says, I did the most stupidest and hardest thing I could have ever did. And then David's like, what you do? He's like, I slept with Catherine. He's like, yeah, I know, it's surprising, right? I haven't been attracted to that woman in years. I'm like, Jim, you damn dog. You did all of that. Oh, I love you, Kate. I miss you, Kate, and I want us to be together, Kate. And the whole time, it was only a ruse to try to get in on Catherine's good side. And then you on the phone literally clowning her today, to saying that, oh my God, I took one for the team. So since I took one for the team, David, you need to get back in good graces with Veronica, because if all of us could go down for this. Hello, Jennifer Sallison's body. We no longer have Mama Rose on our team. We all need to come together and figure out a plan, because it's going to go left if we don't. We'll all end up in jail. So he says that, look, I ain't trying to deal with Veronica. What the hell I don't know what you on. And then Jim's like, I don't know what the hell you on, David. Like, why all of a sudden you don't want to deal with her no more? What's up with this? He's like, look, I'm divorcing her, and once I get Jeffrey away from her, I don't want to deal with that woman ever again in my life. I'm so done with her ass. He's like, well, you need to make right with her. You need to take her out to dinner. You need to talk to her, make love to her, whatever you have to do. We need Veronica on our team, so all four of us are on the same page as to what to do about this. Hell, I slept with Catherine. You can definitely deal with Veronica. He's like, I'm not sleeping with Veronica. So he's like, well, fine. I took one for the entire team, so you don't have to worry about that. And I was just like, oh my God, Jim, you messy motherfucker. I'm like, damn. So all this time, and I knew it, and I'm pretty sure all of you knew it too, that Jim was just using that line just to get back into Catherine's good graces, and hopefully that was going to put him back, that was going to put him back on the good end with Catherine, as far as being financially secure. But Catherine said she's still divorcing him. It don't even matter. But she just gave in and had sex. Hey, when the flesh wants what the flesh wants. All right, so after that, we get a scene with Jeffrey and Justin. Justin's like, I'm nervous, and Jeffrey's like, why are you nervous? He's like, because you want to see me. And Jeffrey lets him know, I think you need to see someone. He's like, for what? He's like, for all of this, man, everything that we've been through, like, yeah, you need to see somebody. He's like, but I'm not crazy. He's like, I'm not saying you're crazy, but I'm saying you need some help. You know, you blowing off, you with all this anger and hostility you got, this stuff is not healthy. You need to see somebody. And he's like, you know, so you want me to see someone, but what about what we have? And then Jeffrey's like, we don't have anything. He's like, for you, you don't have anything, but for me, it's something totally different. I have a lot. And he's like, look, you need to see somebody. And as of right now, we don't have anything. And he's like, so you're dumping me? He's like, no, I'm not dumping you. I'm telling you, you need to get some help. He's like, yeah, but you're telling me to get help by dumping me. I'm like, Justin, if you do not take your psychotic ass on somewhere with that, I'm just like, God, like, bruh, you are so missing the point. Dude, you almost shot him. You pretty much, you know, beat up Wyatt. Then you was about to choke out Landon. Like, dude, you're a walking time bomb. And yeah, you need to be checked. You need to get that, what's going on upstairs, you need to get that together. So then he gets a call and he's like, oh, so who's calling? Is it him? Huh? Is it him? He's like, see, this is what I'm talking about right now. It's like, well, who is it then? He said, it's my mother. He's like, oh. He's like, so he answered the phone and she was like, are you coming back? And he's like, no, I'm not coming back. You know, and she's like, are you sure? Because, and then she's like, are you with that boy? And he's like, no. He's like, yes, you are. I know you with that boy. Put it on speakerphone. So, Jeffrey puts it on speakerphone, and she's like, okay, I'm about to let you know something, you big hunk of yard. I'm about to go to court in the morning, and I'm about to turn your ass in, Jeffrey, since your ass don't want to come home. And then after that, you know, I'm going to go into the judge's chamber. And then I'm actually going to go and see your wife, Justin, the judge, and show her the video of you and you being in Jeffrey's room, and get her thrown off of my case. Because it's a conflict of interest. You know, so this is what the plan's going to happen, and this is exactly what's going down. Next you know, Justin's like, lady, if you even dare, what you going to do, girl? What you going to do? He's like, lady, I'm warning you. And she's like, yeah, and I've warned you to stay away from my son, and yet you haven't. So now, Miss Honey, your wife is now going to find out everything there is to know about you. So, Jeffrey, I suggest you get ready to either come back home or be willing to face to get charged tomorrow. And you, Miss Thing, you need to go home and talk to your wife, because I think you need to have a talk. Deuces. I'm like, Veronica, you evil mess. I was like, and he's like, you know, I'm not going to let this happen. She can't do this. And then Jeffrey's like, she will. She will do this. You don't know my mom. She will do this. So we see that's where it ended with the two of them. Then we go to Charles's campaign. Charles is on his campaign trail. You know, they got you know, the tour bus, you know, and they go inside the tour bus, and you can definitely tell he's still putting on the face, but you can tell personally he's going through it because he really wants Candace around him. So then we see that Landon goes off to talk with him in the back of the tour bus, and he's like saying that, look, everything is great, man, you're going to win. You know, like, he's like, did you have doubts? And Landon's like, no. And he's like, yes, you did. You doubted. But we see that his polls are going up. But then after that, Landon takes him to the back because he wants to talk to him. And he's like, you know, I apologize. And he's like, apologize for what? He's like, for calling the police on your friend. He's like, you mean Candace? He's like, yeah. And he's like, is that all? And I also apologize for second guessing you. He's like, okay, is that all? And for disrespecting your wishes. He's like, okay, apology accepted. And then he pretty much said, also, I wanted to show you something. He showed him that he cleaned up Candace's image. Her being an escort, all of her, being charged for murder, all of that stuff has been wiped clean. So he did clean her up like he wanted. And then he's like, okay, good. He says, you're doing a great job, Landon. When I get in the Oval, me, you can have a drink together. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, are you... And I'm starting to think Landon liked Charles, because, Landon a little hoe. So I'm trying to see, like, he kind of got a thing for Charles in a way. Maybe, I could be wrong, but he was kind of giving me that vibe, like, he's kind of like, he likes a man with power, so he's kind of attracted to him. And then, like, Charles is like, okay, you can go off somewhere now because I'm about to call her. So he calls Candace, they have a conversation, and he's like, well, he's kind of letting know about his candidate choice. She's like, oh, interesting. So she's like, she's like, hello, and she's like, hey, and he's like, you actually know who this is? She's like, yes, interesting. Why are you calling me? And he's like, and he's pretty much saying that, well, I'm letting you know I got everything covered and I can't wait to see you, and what's been going on with you? And she's like, look, I'm on my way to a funeral, so you tell me how I'm doing. She's like, probably angry, sad, and probably confused, all wrapped into one. She's like, yeah, that's it. But he's like, how about once you get some time, once you call me, I'll be free after 11. She hung up the damn phone. She's like, okay, I ain't got time for Charles right now. But we can definitely tell Charles definitely is into Candace, and now he's happy that she's completely cleaned up, so now he can bring her into his world. So we go to the funeral home, and this is where the scene really gets crazy, and this is where mostly everything went down. Hannah and Benny are there. They pretty much saw that there are two caskets. There's a blue casket and a white casket. Hannah decided on the white casket. And they were kind of like saying, so then the funeral director is like, going over the program and going over, do they want open or closed casket? Hannah says open, but Benny says closed because of the fact that he was shot up. And then she's saying that, no, I want the casket open because I want people to see what they did to him. I want to see what guns are doing to our communities and what they're doing to our people. So keep the casket open. Next thing you know, while he's going through, the information or whatever, and we also know that Catherine is paying for everything. Next thing you know, we see Candace show up, and Candace is mad as hell. Like, you see the look that she gave Hannah was a look of hate and a look of anger. And then next thing you know, she pretty much Benny introduces her to the funeral director that she's his mother, and he's like, okay, hi, how are you? I'm sorry for your loss. I deeply am. And then he starts going over the funeral arrangements, and he mentions the casket, and she's like, what casket is this? And pretty much the funeral director says, well, this white one your mother chose. But then Candace's like, I want the blue one. And she's like, we can't afford the blue one. She's like, I don't care. I want the blue one. And she's like, he liked blue. She's like, how would you know that? She's like, I knew it when he was born that his favorite color was blue. So that's the one I want. And then she says that, and then next you know, she starts in on Hannah. She's like, how is it that you went into the bathroom and you didn't get a scratch on you? Like, how is it that you protected my son, but yet you came out completely with no scratches or anything? How did that even happen? Like, you did this. You did this. And then the next thing you know, Benny came into it. He's like, look, you need to stop this. All right? She did the best she could to protect him. She's like, obviously she didn't because he's dead and she's not. And he's like, you know what, Candace? I'm tired of your bullshit. you know what? I was there. I saw War come up in there, looking for you, mind you, looking for you, and she took that baby in there to protect him, and that baby got shot up, and she did everything and was willing to put her life on the line on that baby, and you're not going to come in here and do this to her. I'm sick of it. And she's like, well, I'm sick of you. I was like, ooh. And she ain't never square off a Benny like that. And she was like, she's like, I'm sick of you. You know, you always asking me for money, always telling me about your expensive pipe dream about owning your own toy yard and all this crap. And he's like, yeah, you're my sister. So who else am I gonna trust to tell you about my dreams or about my aspirations? But I ain't tell you to sell your ass to get it. And then she was like, see, I can tell right now you didn't spend a lot of time with mama, you know. And then she's saying that, who's paying for this anyway? And she's like, we can't afford it. She's like, oh, then who's paying? And then she was like, well, Captain Cryer's paying for everything. She's like, oh, she will not be paying for this funeral. And she said, so where is he going to be buried? And they said he's going to be buried in the church. Like, oh no, he's going to be buried in the cemetery. I forgot the name of the cemetery she said, but she said he's going to be buried in the cemetery. He's not going to be buried in the church. That's not happening. And Catherine ain't paying for the funeral. And then she's like, oh, where are you going to get the money from, Candace? Oh, I know you're going to get the money from that guy running for president. Oh yeah, I saw him on the TV talking about he's very close with the Young family and he grieves our loss. Yeah, that explains it. That explains you probably using that man. You probably make him one of you definitely made him another mark, and that also explains what happened to Benny in the Secret Service. Yeah, this is all you, Candace. Yeah, you using that man. So where are you going to get $6,000 from? You know, because the film director is saying that the funeral's tomorrow. She's like, first of all, the funeral's not going to be tomorrow. It's going to be Thursday. And I'll have the money tomorrow to help pay for everything. But yeah, he's getting that blue casket. And she pretty much just goes and flips out and lifts up the casket. And we see little Quincy inside the casket. And she loses it. And I'm like, girl, this episode was crazy. Because it was just like, this definitely goes on in a lot of families, and I've seen it happen. You know, when there's a death in the family, there can be some fights that can definitely come out of that. You know, it's also a moment, you know, where the family comes together, but then it's also a time where families can come to blows. So we definitely saw this with the family, and that's where it ended. But there's a lot more that's going to happen next week on the season finale. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But yeah. Oh yeah, but then she also kind of checked Hannah, was like, oh, so you just continue to take the crumbs from white people, huh, Miss Hannah? I was like, ooh, like you really would just... So Candace really came to that funeral home and she showed her royal ass. She didn't care about nothing they said. She's like, shoot, she the reason why he dead, so she ain't playing in nothing. He ain't being buried in the church. He ain't being buried in that cheap ass casket. He's gonna get the blue one. And she just came in there and just completely lost her mind, even to the point that her and Benny started to butt heads. So this was a crazy episode, y'all. But yeah, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back next week with the season finale of the Have and the Have Not. So until then, everybody, take care.